Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Well, they're just lining up on the streets, banging down the doors of their record shops, pre-ordering like crazy online. Not. What on earth is this doing on Deutsche Grammophon? We have conductor Kazuki Yamada, the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, in Walton Symphonies 1 and 2 and the Scepter March. These are live performances recorded in 2024 and 25, demonstrating conclusively that studio recordings are necessary. Not that there's like obvious mistakes. It's just that you're stuck with what happened on the day and you don't have a producer to say, hey, go out there, do it again, do it better, which is what they should have done here. I mean, well, particularly with respect to the First Symphony. Now, the First Symphony is complicated. It's a very difficult work to do. It's very virtuosic. It requires great finesse from the orchestra and absolute sledgehammer power and preternatural rhythmic accuracy. It also requires a conductor who knows how to project the structure of especially its first movement, which is one of the greatest single movement effusions in 20th century music. It's an incredible piece. And it happens in three huge waves. The first wave ends with the end of the exposition. It's dum ba da da dum. That climax goes ba da 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 da. Yeah, da da dum ba da dum. You know how that it ends quietly. Then it goes down to the bottom and it builds itself up into a huge mega climax, an incredible, insane accumulation of tension and energy that's discharged into the recapitulation, which begins with the horns doing that sort of bum 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 ya dum bum ya. You know, and that's the beginning of the recap, which is highly abbreviated, and it runs directly into the coda and the end, which Walton marks ferocious. Chum ba-dum 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 bum bum ba-dum ba-dum. I mean, you can't be mean and snarly enough. You really can't. And he isn't. He's just not mean and snarly enough. These huge climaxes, they just don't culminate the way they're supposed to. Partly it's a matter of tempo. It's just a hair too slow everywhere. But partly, more significantly, it's a question of rhythm and accent. You know, I mean, it just has to blast you through the roof, and it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. I mean, the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra recorded this also with Simon Rattle, a not very interesting performance. They're not a bad orchestra. They're a good orchestra, but it's a live, whatever happens performance. And that's what it sounds like. The scherzo, I mean, it's supposed to be played with malice. Presto con malizia. There's no malice here. It's jolly. It sort of just chuggles along in a fairly cheerful demeanor. There's no snap and snarl to it. The slow movement's very attractive. The finale has no rhetorical emphasis or grandeur. You know, the opening doesn't count for very much. The tempo relationships between the introduction and the main body of the movement are not terribly well judged. I mean, the coda isn't bad. You get to hear the cymbals and tam-tam. It's exciting. Yamada was a percussionist. Good for him. But it's still not a great performance of the symphony. It's a symphony that has a few great performances. Previn, Litton, Slatkin, one or two others that are really very impressive. And if you're not going to be on that level, it's one of those pieces where there is no second best. There's just no point, if you're going to be second best. And this is not even second best. So there's that. The Second Symphony Well, the second symphony is much easier to do. It's shorter. It's very lush and very sort of tropical sounding, and it's all about texture. It doesn't have the tension, and it doesn't have the emotional clout of the first symphony, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very, very different work. The performance is always better of the second than the first because it's so cleverly written. It doesn't really ask much of its interpreters other than to keep it moving and play it right, and they do. The finale could be better. The finale is a series of variations, and the climax, it culminates with a big bell stroke after a fugue. And all. Again, I miss the accents. I miss that classic Waltonian rhythmic verve that the piece has to have. There's something cautious about these performances, and it's not terrible, but they're also not interesting, and there are lots and lots of really good ones. The Orb and Scepter March, even that, right? It's a pomp and circumstance piece, right? It's a pomp and circumstance march. Even that just doesn't have any pizzazz. It's flat in some ways. I mean, the whole performance, the whole disc is kind of flat. Having this guy doing the Uncle Kazuki wants you thing on the cover, doesn't sell the product. And why is this on Deutsche Grammophon? I just don't understand why this was even made. It's one of those cocaine hippo performances. They did it because they could, not because they ought to. And I mean, that's what a cocaine hippo is, if you'll recall. It's what's his name from the Medellin cartel who imported hippos to his private zoo, not because he needed them, but because he didn't know what to do with his money. Pablo Escobar, whatever his name was, I don't know. It's a cocaine hippo, and I don't get it. I really, really don't. Do something great. Do something different. Do something unusual. And what's more, I mean, Yamada's made a bunch of recordings. He did a few on pentatone, varying degrees of success. And there's some stuff on Naxos. What does he do? What does he do well? He's been made music director of Birmingham. He's been working with them since like 2019. So he has had plenty of opportunity to impose his identity on the orchestra and create something. So we're waiting. I mean, he's certainly not a Walton specialist. What does he do really, really well? If he has access to funding and money and can do these things for Deutsche Grammophon, be smart. He's got to learn how to pick them. And that was not a good pick. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.